All right, so welcome to the Meme Monday version of Decipher the Bull. Now that Kevin's here, we have made a collection of a bunch of memes that kind of relate to topics that we usually talk about. So, Kevin, I will have you start with one of yours. And
all right,
I wanted to say you would be proud of me, Kevin, because it is a totally different level of peace when you can listen to your ex's live and it's all about him talking about almost having a foursome that just turned into maybe a twosome, but then somehow Coke got involved, so none of it happened. But you just hear those stories and you're like, was this during our relationship, after our relationship? But it is a whole other level of peace when you can actually listen to those stories and have no inkling of jealousy.
Yeah, that's deep stuff. That's like y'all been around for a minute. You know each other really well, and it doesn't matter what you've been through. That's what's up. But yeah, let me set it off with one of these memes. So I got my 5. I think this is a good one to start with because it's just so relevant right now.
Okay.
Hopefully you can see it.
Okay. So what did you read it?
So hopefully people notice. I feel like we shouldn't even explain the memes. It's like if you get it, you get it. It's not showing up in reverse, right? It's showing up good?
Oh, no, it's showing up in reverse. So it's like, you don't have to read them.
Damn. All right, so...
But chances are all these memes somebody's seen at one point or another.
Yeah, but I'll read it. So everyone in 2020, nothing. Looking back to 2019, and then Thanos was like, perhaps I should have treated you better. Perhaps I treated you too harshly. Which is obviously, one of the main characters from Endgame and Infinity War.
Yeah.
And he was talking to his daughter about that in that line. And I feel like it just really resonates with anyone who's not really taking it day by day. Anyone who's kind of really hooked on their resolutions. It's like, I can't wait for 2019 to be over because I went through some BS or blah, blah, blah. But in 2020, it's all going to be about the new me.
Right.
So I feel like this speaks volumes to just appreciating what you have, and just not worrying about the bullshit, but just worrying about what you can control. And just trying to take that energy into 2020. Maybe not waiting until 2020 to do something, but just waiting till the next day or the next morning, the next moment even.
No, I do. I think I was definitely, I was one of those people. I was like, 2020 is about to be my shit. I got trips lined up. Work was going to go really well. But looking back at it, 2019 was not that bad of a year either. So I'm definitely, you got to be appreciative of. And I mean, it's only March. We haven't completely lost 2020. We could still be doing stuff to make it a good year, but I think overall, Corona is a lot of things, but I think it's definitely giving people like the blessing of time. In this time, they're learning a whole lot about themselves, and not all of it's pretty. So hopefully we come out, better people after this. I don't think people have had to sit with themselves and their own thoughts this long with nothing else to do. So it'll be interesting to see what comes out.
Yeah. It's like an all hands on deck meditation session.
I'll tell you what though, I feel like dating after this, post-corona, is about to be live as shit because all the people that are single, not like single, but you got people to entertain and you could like text every now and then, maybe a couple cute boo FaceTimes, but the single ones where you don't have one fish in the pond, you couldn't even text somebody if you wanted to. They're going to come out ready to be like, listen, if this happens again, I'm not trying to be by myself. So I feel like people are going to be more willing to get into relationships versus just like fuck buddies, because when you're in quarantine, fuck buddies don't mean shit. If y'all don't have nothing to talk about, or you can't go to the park and just work out together, like,
right.
What's
right. Or your temps, if you get your temps can't do long term, then what you doing?
And there's a lot of temps out here. There's a lot of girls y'all didn't know couldn't cook. There's a lot of girls that, damn, all they got is titties and twerking. That's it. They don't really have much conversation. You start living with them, you realize they only shower every other day. They don't put the cap back on the toothpaste.
Yeah, you just have a stronger appreciation for personality.
Yes, you be looking at people and you just like, damn, like this is what I was entertaining for this long. Like, was I that bored? And I really think that's what's gonna come out. A lot of people are gonna figure out they were bored. It ain't got shit to do with how that person makes you feel. Boredom is a one hell of a motivator. I'll just put it that way.
Gotcha. But yeah, that's really it. I think that's the theme for the meme. It's just appreciating what you have, you know, making a plan, not waiting too long to maybe execute on it, and just taking it moment by moment.
Okay, so that kind of goes. So I'll start with the meme that matches that one on my end. With what side of the fence are you on? So you know you've seen the meme where it's like, you know, if you come out of quarantine without a new skill or talent, that's my roommate, by the way. So nobody can tell. I know.
I was just about to text you about that. Be like, yo, is somebody behind?
So it's basically like if you come out of quarantine and you don't have a new skill or a new talent or whatever, you didn't lack time, you lack discipline. What side of the fence are you on with that? I go both ways. It's kind of, there's a lot of people that don't have that opportunity, so I don't think it's fair to make that a general statement. And I kind of think it's like, it goes against this whole mental health awareness that everybody seems to be bandwagoning on, in the sense of like people that can't accomplish that or don't do that, you're kind of making them feel like shit. But for kind of going back to what I said, for a lot of people, this is the first time they've had time to sit still. So like if you come out of quarantine with more self-love, more self-respect, a different view on, you know, your traumas and whatever, that's an accomplishment. That's personal gain. That's a new skill. You figured out how to deal with your demons because you had to, you know. So I just feel it could go both ways. So I'm on the fence about that meme. I feel like it's kind of not the most positive way to put that thing.
I guess it does depend on your situation, you know, like if you're, obviously everything we talk about is our opinions, you know, and people just aren't going to agree with it. And it's okay to pick a side. You don't necessarily have to sit on the fence. But I agree with you in that if you're not coming out of this with a skill or some sort of strength, then you absolutely lack discipline, you know, because we have the time. But case by case, for me, this hasn't really affected, like I'm not really quarantined. I still have to go out and into stores because that's just the nature of my business. You know, I have to visit stores and see lots of people every day. So the only way this has directly affected me is that now my kids are being homeschooled. So it's kind of different in that, you know, they just need more help at home, like after school with like homework and such, you know? So I technically have less time for a lot of reasons, but that could be one of them because now they're not like just in school getting stimulated. They need extra stimulation even once I'm home at night. So there's a skill to be learned there, right? So just more time management, making sure that I have more time with them. And I think that for everyone, if you just have the right mindset, then you can figure out how to make it work. You know, you either figure it out or you don't. And that's what separates, you know, people that do better and people that don't do better.
Yeah, and I feel like people took that skill thing a little too literal. There's 1,000 different skills and they don't all come from taking a photography class or getting certified in something else or enrolling in your master's or going back to school. Like you said, time management is a skill. And if that's just something you work on because now you got to manage your kids more, still you got to do your full-time job. You're still cooking, you're still cleaning, you know, that is a benefit. And I get it, memes are made out of circumstance and they're funny and it's great, but I saw it and I was like, this is a great topic for us to expand on because it's a lot bigger than that. For the people that do, you know, struggle with mental illness or things like that, like I said, it's a skill to learn how to love yourself. So shit, that's the only thing you come out of this doing. That's a good thing in my book, and I don't think you should feel bad because you didn't come out with a master's or you didn't come out with a new certification. You know,
you should feel bad. You need to work whatever you're working on. I think you should feel bad if you come out of this with nothing but complaints. You should feel bad. You're gonna stay stuck if you stuck like that. You're gonna stay stuck.
I
When
mean,
you mentioned cooking, that's something I gotta work on too. Cooking more.
a lot of people gonna come out of here with a whole new 20 pounds. That's for sure. Me and my first friend.
An Amazon or yoga mat.
No, we're doing good though. I do like I get out, exercise, do my little 4-mile walk, and get a good workout in and stuff.
That's what's
like,
up.
It's all about, to an extent, your motivation to do something and get out of the house and do better.
Oh yeah, I imagine it'd be easy to just stay home and just do whatever you're doing. So.
And speaking of being home, did you hear? So like Justin Timberlake, I'm a fan, so I'm choosing to accept that maybe he said it sarcastically, but he tweeted about like basically how terrible he and his wife feel about they have to parent for 24 hours now. Meanwhile, there's
they have to what? 24 hours?
The parent 24 hours. So he's basically complaining that him and his wife have to be a full-time parent.
Oh.
And basically they're like, they're quarantined in their like ranch or something in Montana, a mansion. They've got like acres to themselves. It's beautiful and snowing. And he's complaining because he has to be a full-time parent. I guess they don't have the normal nanny or whatever.
Mm.
So how does that make you feel as a dad of 3?
Yeah.
Working full-time with your kids at home?
Yeah, I think so I'm blessed with, like, right now my wife's staying at home. You know, our youngest is he'll be 2 in the summer. So she's been a stay-at-home mom for a while, which has been a blessing, you know. And so it's not as tough as like anyone that's got to work and be a parent also, you know. There's layers to that. But for Justin, for celebrities, there's a little bit of a disconnect, you know, because they don't have the same problems that other people have in different classes, different working classes, all have different problems. And that's not to say that his problems aren't real. It's just that that's probably not something that you would tweet to where your fans could see, but maybe that's a text you send your other celebrity friends. So it was probably in poor taste, you know? So, I mean, I'm not offended by that because what he does isn't gonna affect me directly. So I've come to a point in my life where I don't give a damn what other people are doing. If it don't affect me, my friends, or my family, it's like, all right, do you. So
that's why we need more viewers like you, Kevin. People literally are having an entire Twitter war about how this man feels. And I agree. I think he did it out of sarcasm. I'm also a Justin Timberlake fan, so I don't want to think that he's that shit of a person.
Yeah.
But I think it is all relative. But at the end of the day, being a parent is a 24-hour job, regardless of being rich, poor, middle class, celebrity. When you have a kid, that's what you sign up for. That means like that is your responsibility for forever.
Facts.
Afford a nanny, a babysitter, or not. So for him to be like, "Oh, it sucks being a parent for 24 hours." What were you doing before? Like, who is your child with that you're not with him? You know,
right.
Today, especially when so much of that stuff they bring their kids to anyway. So it's kind of, it just makes you question, well, what kind of parenting were they doing before? / I think he's just mad that he's stuck with his wife and not the home that he got caught having an affair with.
What?
Did you not?
No.
Okay.
You know I don't follow these people. Wait. Before we get into wait. Hold on. So also to play devil's advocate for JT, I understand if like my kids drive me nuts sometimes, right? And if I had them all day, all the time, I'm not sure exactly where that would lead because I don't have to deal with them like that. Even my language, deal with them, right? Like that's such a dad thing to say or a bad parent thing to say. But that's just what he's going through. And if he doesn't want to be a full-time parent, it's about balance, right? So if you're just with your kids all day, that can be stressful and you need to take a break. So maybe he's just hasn't figured out how to take those breaks yet. That could be, you know.
Or take a break, but don't tweet about it.
Yeah, he shouldn't have tweeted about it.
Like, I don't understand what celebrities don't understand about, it sucks that you're held to a different standard, but like, if I tweet something, 500 people might see it. If JT tweets something, basically the whole world sees it.
Yeah, it's 500 million. Yeah.
I just want them to, I don't know when they're gonna learn that not like you can't tweet like a normal person. You just can't.
He forgot his media training.
That you and your celebrity friends can think about.
Yeah.
But yeah, you have you seen the show Raising Dion?
No, I want to.
Well, the mom in that show, apparently her and JT were filming a new movie and may or may not be having an affair.
Okay. No comment. You want to do the next meme or you want me to do the next one?
You do the next one.
Okay. You know, you helped me prepare for this and told me put them in order. I definitely didn't do that, but but here's the next one. All right. Wish I could like flip the image.
Oh, I got a question about this one. So yeah, go ahead and read them bubbles.
Yeah. Hey, babe, can you close the door for me?
Yeah, there's so many different versions of that meme.
All right, I'll read it anyway. So she's like, "Oh, would you stop watching anime for me?" And he just blocked her. So there's layers to this, right? I'm trying to focus. Sorry. Hopefully y'all can't hear my background. Yeah. So there's layers to this, right? So try not to take it at the value of just her and him, but we're just gonna say like person and person. And this type of question, just asking someone to change for you, is that's just not, in my opinion, something that you really do in a relationship. You know, these types of things is not really, I don't think they're really a conversation. It's like if you want to change for someone, then you kind of do it on your own. But it also obviously depends on what it is, right? But let's take something simple like this, just anime. Like, why would she ask that? Why would anyone ask that? Have you been in a position like this where a guy asked you to change yourself for him? Or anyone else? Type it in.
I can't say that I can't. And that's more like they're asking you to give up something that you enjoy for them. And I can't say that I've ever had that. Now, if I'm being completely honest, I have asked someone else.
Okay.
In the sense of...
I would love to hear the context of that.
Okay, cousin. In the sense of y'all men and 2K or Call of Duty, whatever it may be. If I can sit in your living room and offer, hey, I'm in the mood to give you head, and you're like, nah, babe, when I finish this round, we have a fucking issue. Like, that is a fundamental issue. It's like that video that's coming out now that people are quarantined, where like if I walk in the room and
I've seen that.
I'm completely naked.
I've seen that.
The guy was like, babe, you had all day. Like, I'm playing the game now. I'm sorry.
I didn't see that video. The video I saw, he got up and he was about it. He was ready.
So there's another one. And see, James agrees he's a man. So I'm just like, so I've never asked somebody to change something fundamental.
Okay.
Now, I'm not a gamer, so I don't understand that addiction, but I have been like, are you seriously going to sit here all day and play a video game? Like, there's so much other shit we could be doing, because this game is going to be here.
Okay, I got a question.
Not here, so why wouldn't you take advantage of me physically being in front of you?
Okay, so instead of saying we could do other things, have you planned something else to do?
Oh, for sure. Kevin,
okay.
You know, I'm a planner.
Okay.
I this situation with 4 different plans. There's 4 different ways this could go.
Okay.
Pick one.
Okay. Yeah, I'm also a planner. So sometimes it's like, oh, we could do all these things. But it's like, all right, so plan it. You know, make it happen. Let me know what we're trying to do. Because I plan all the time. So it's your turn. But that's a separate thing too.
I'm gonna be mad when I make a whole plan and you still say, "No, I'm gonna just play the game."
Yeah, that's an issue.
Then then I might actually get physical because I'm gonna be mad. And for me, there's like women being upfront about what they want, but that's just not my thing. Like I would never. Well, let me not say never. I don't usually. I'm not gonna walk into a room and be like, "Listen, I'm horny. I want to have sex. Let's go." You know, or like initiated it. Or if I do initiate it, it's gonna be very subtle, and I'm relying on him to know what pick up what I'm putting down.
Yeah, I agree, James.
And make it.
Priorities messed up.
So a woman can make a plan all day long, but it's not like a.
All right, let me play devil's advocate again. So you say that you're not a gamer and you don't understand that addiction, but as a gamer, I know that I feel like there's a game for everybody. Like there's all sorts of stuff you could play. One of my boys, he met a girl who wasn't necessarily a gamer, but they played, they got on some games together anyway. They did some dual screen stuff. They did races together, and that was
Crash Bandicoot.
All right, so bet. So if you have someone that's particular to Call of Duty, y'all might could do a mission together. Have you tried that?
Kevin, don't laugh at me. I've tried that. That whole dual screen and that game trips my eyes out so bad. I can't focus. Like I can't even figure out what I'm trying to do. Like what is my objective? I don't understand.
Shoot and kill.
Like that game, I'll be killing the wrong people. I'll kill people on my team. I don't know the difference.
All right. You gotta find a different game for you, dude.
And if I'm playing it with somebody that takes it seriously, then they just get heated and it turns into an argument, and you're just like, okay.
Right. Yeah. No, you can't team kill. That's a big problem. You gotta find a different game.
Maybe this is a bad idea.
Yeah.
But
close the door.
I agree with you.
Good night. Close the door.
You shouldn't have to you shouldn't be in a relationship with anybody that you feel that you fundamentally have to ask.
Yeah.
That's just of everybody's time involved. What does that say?
All right, so James said he agrees. Game can be life, but if I'm playing GTA, I'm in the middle of a mission. I can restart the mission. I can't restart my. True.
Say that one more time for the people in the back.
So that's back to the same point. It's priorities. You could restart the mission, but you can't restart getting in the mood.
Right.
Unless you're online, you can't restart online.
And I feel like for women, it takes a lot for us to take that extra initiative into like starting some shit. So when you turn me down for a game, what y'all don't understand as men is that's also rejection. So as a female, that's like, oh, damn. Like the sight of me naked is not good enough for you anymore? Or like, oh, like you don't want to, every time you want something, I'm quick to it. But so then we get petty. And it's like the next time you want some head, I'm gonna be like, nah, I'm busy. Or like the next time you try to instigate something, I'm gonna roll over and go to sleep. So now you're creating problems for a video game.
Oh gosh.
Like you said, you cannot restart getting on, and it's harder for women. If we throw it at you, I don't care what you're playing. You need to be ready to catch it. Like on that, that's rule of thumb. I don't care what the game is. I don't care if you're about to break the ultimate high score. I need to be serviced. That's all that matters.
Not, but also if this is a recurring issue, you got to change your type of men. This is a recurring issue. Like it was 1 or 2 times.
This is the one shared trait that all of y'all have. Video games. It might not be the same game.
Doug disagrees. I'm with you, Doug. We don't all have that shared trait.
We got to disagree. Please explain that disagree, Doug. We gonna both type it out.
Doug, while he types that out, I'll let you know why I disagree, because I don't think any man is addicted. It's just, it might just be timing, Like I said, it's just whoever you're dealing with. This is a recurring thing. That's all I got for the disagreement.
Now, I feel like that's a general rule of thumb, because I can say out of the people I've dated, I mean, Kevin, you know me personally, but for the people that don't know me personally, I don't have a type. My type is energy. And that and it looks different. Like, it could be whatever. Yeah. So I've dated different types of men, different spaces of life, different interests, things like that. And it's never like a problem, but it's always a thing that I notice. I'm like, okay, you would really rather sit here and play this video game than go do something with me. And I'm not just talking about if it's sexual. Like, yes, sexual is to trump the cake. But I'm talking like, I don't know, like, babe, I want to get dressed up, let's go eat. Or like, hey, I didn't get to work out today, let's go take a walk in the park. Or just simple things like that. And there are some men that are like, nah, like, I'm gonna keep playing my game.
Ask when he's done. What about, how long you gonna be? And then, all day. Nah, that's the problem. Get away from them.
Kevin, you sit down and play a game, you at least there for 2-3 hours.
Say again?
When you play a game, are you at least there for like 2-3 hours?
Yeah, it depends, but I can be. Even longer. I've broken daylight before. It's like overnight.
See, alright, well, we got somebody on your side, so maybe I need to just change up my taste in men. Energy be damned. Clearly they're all the same type, because that is not her experience.
Right, but and also speaking to that moment of him being on it and you're like, oh, I want to go for a walk, it could be, instead of being as spontaneous as let's go on this walk right now, or let's go work out right now, let's do this after you're done.
But then I might not be in the mood. At that point, I didn't lay there. And
now that's not fair. That's not fair.
And that goes to, okay, so Doug's point. He says, women expect men to be ready, but don't understand that the central part is serious. I get that. I get that to an extent, because I've experienced both. I've experienced for like someone, you walk into a room, somebody sees you naked, boom, instant hard on. And I've also seen where, you got to do a little bit of the foreplay before anybody reacts to get things going. So this situation, guys, is very situational and personal experience. By no means do I think I'm right. Do I think Kevin's wrong? We're just sharing experiences.
I constantly think I'm right, but I just say it's my opinion. So. But
I know that I can't be wrong, though, because it literally is an entire TikTok trend now of women trying to get their men to hook up or do something while they're playing the video game.
I guess that does say something.
Like, when enough people make it a TikTok trend, we got an issue.
All right, that's mad funny. We going to the next one? The next meme?
I guess, because we run out of time. So I like this subject, obviously, but...
Yeah, we got a lot of good ones.
All right, that makes it my turn, right? Oh, shit.
I mean, no sweat. I could do the next one, too. I could hog it.
I got you. Let me pull up my...
Okay. And I got one on deck.
So this one kind of... this one's yours. You about to do the math chick?
No.
Okay. Can I steal it?
Yeah.
Goes with this topic. I retired from that video stuff. I was there since I retired in 2005. Our latest video games got into my life. See?
Good for you, Doug.
But priorities. But video games is the female equivalent of like our girls' night or like a wine night or whatever. And I can't sit here and honestly say, if like my girls, because a lot of guys talk to their guy friends in the game. Like that's where they socialize, that's where they meet up, whatever. So I can't honestly say if my man came out naked and I was leaving for a girls' night, I would text my girls and be like, I'm gonna be late. I'm coming. And I'd go handle that.
Go handle that.
And I go. Like he could handle this and then go back to the game. My point is men choosing things that'll still be there over creating memories and moments with their significant other. That's where my line is.
Gotcha.
But this next meme would be, okay, this one I might have to show a little bit.
I love that one.
So you see it's a lady, she's doing math or whatever, and basically the numbers are 248 plus 204 equals 4,416. And the meme is women explain how their perfect relationship will work.
Oh, so much for. There it is.
Yeah. So that's what our next topic is gonna be. And Kevin, I'm gonna let you, as a woman, I'm gonna sit back and I'm gonna let you explain this list, and then I'm gonna defend all women.
Yeah, I bet. So if you couldn't see it clearly, basically she's doing this math problem, and the math is just terribly off. It's basically just off, and it says people who explain how their perfect relationship will work, right? Women, men, whatever. It's usually women that do this though, that make a list. And the point of it being wrong is that sometimes, especially if you're inexperienced or a younger woman, you think you can have this list of like the perfect guy or the perfect person for you, and you think that you'll get to this conclusion based on these things that they have. And sometimes it's really just not like that. Just because they have a master's degree doesn't mean y'all gonna be able to talk for 5 hours on the phone. Doesn't make them smart. Doesn't mean you'll have intelligent conversations, for example. That's really the only example I guess I got right now.
Well, so you can honestly say that men don't make a list. You didn't have a list about what your ideal wife would be?
No.
What?
It's like
free balling in the dating world.
Right, and then just saying no, it sounds like, oh, I just settled for anything, right? Like that's how some people might interpret it, but for me, it was like it's like you know when you know. You know, I've always been a vibes person. You know, I didn't really have like a long-term relationship plan. And my people close to me will tell you this. Like, yeah, Kevin didn't even really date or nothing like that. It wasn't nothing crazy, nothing serious for a while. And then it just was all of a sudden because she was just the one, you know? And it wasn't like she checked a bunch of boxes. I just realized in that moment that that's what I appreciated most about her as a woman and a mother and a cook and everything else, you know? It wasn't like I said, oh, I'm gonna make sure that I marry someone that can cook really well. You know? Every guy wants that though, by the way. Cook. Know how to cook well.
We want that shit too. Y'all can get in the kitchen. Do you know?
But gender norms.
There are actually more male chefs than there are female chefs. And pre the 50s, when that whole housewife thing happened, men cooked more than women did. So, besides the history lesson, women want men that can cook too.
I get that, but that's a bonus if we cook.
We have better than me. Instant witness, like.
But that's not gonna be a requirement ever. I challenge any woman to let me know that's not gonna be a requirement.
It's
not gonna be a requirement. That's gonna be a bonus on your list. See, that's always gonna be a bonus. That's not gonna be like at the top of your list. Tim has a list.
Yes, he does. Thank you, Tim. Tim always has my back.
Tim, I would love to hear pieces of your list. Please let us know what parts of your list are.
Yeah. Please share at least 3.
But yeah, guys cooking is always, obviously my opinion, gonna be a bonus. That's not gonna be at the top of anyone's list. At the top of a woman's list, it's going to be financially stable, you know, probably good credit, having your own place maybe, you know, having your own car, which might seem materialistic, but I don't think that's a bad piece to have on your list. I feel like, you know, that shows that you can get your finances working in a way enough where you can get a car and keep a car.
Okay. So I agree. She doesn't have a list, but she has a deal breaker list. I do agree with that. Like, fine, we don't have to have and I guess that's a better way to describe it. I feel like most women have a general idea of what they want their dream man to be, but we all, I feel like, definitely have a don't list. Like,
everyone should have a don't list, deal breaker list. Thank you, beautifully animated. That's my sister. Hey, Brie.
All right, what we got? All right, let's check out people's lists, and then I'll kind of weigh in and see. Successful career rise, kind, great sense of humor, absolutely. Communication, reiteration, no SCPs, goals. Difference between having a list and just having standards.
So that's a good list.
One more time for the people in the back. Maybe we're calling it the wrong thing. It's not a hit list. It's a standards, you know. We just verbalize those on a list so that we can remind ourselves that when sex is 6'6" abs that you could cut cheese on walks into a bar.
Yeah.
You know, have some standards, because that isn't everything.
Standards are good. Standards are gold. Have standards.
Harold, I like my woman broke with no goals. You can always count on Harold to say some stupid shit. So with all of that in mind, I do think that it's a better term to call them standards. And I think people, whether they write it down on a list or whether they know it or not, everybody has standards. Everybody was raised with standards, or your mom and dad were, this is what you deserve, this is how a man should treat a woman, this is blah, 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 blah. So those standards kind of get ingrained in us as we're growing. And then we definitely have those lists where they're deal breakers, you know, like, there are things that I know I could be so in love with how this man looks, what his career is, you know, how everything looks on paper, but there could be 2 or 3 things that he does and I'm like, yeah, I can't, I need this and you don't have it. And that's not to any fault of that person. It's just, so like one of the,
you just don't fit.
Like, so like communication. I feel like communication is a big thing, and that standard is different for every person. Me, I'm a over communicator. I literally have mastered, I have gone to school for communication. I'm a journalist. I work in communications and how to communicate with different people and the best ways to get a message across, and you know, things like that. So I am self-aware that I am an over communicator. So for me, like one of my big don'ts is, you hear me say this all the time. I say, start how you want to finish. So a lot of men start relationships with like 100% communication. We texting all day. Shit, I could probably tell you what you have for lunch. Like that communication is just all day and it's there. And then you get the girl, you start dating a little bit, 3, 5, 6 months in, all of a sudden that 100% drops down to 70%. And then men have an issue when women make that an issue of like, oh, so now like you gotta talk to me all day. That's what we were doing when we started this. And like you have the same job, the same responsibilities, the same schedule. So why can you be 100 then and you're 70 now? So like for me, that's a deal breaker. Because for me, it's not just about the communication thing. It's you can't see something through. And that's why I say start how you want to finish. Because if you start at 70% and I accept 70%, then that's on me 6 months down the road when I'm like, oh, I need more communication. That's my fault. Because I accepted it from the beginning. But for guys that go from like 100 to 70, or they start at 70 and then they go to 30, you can't commit to anything. You're not consistent. You can't see anything through. And that's the basic level in a relationship, is communication. So if you can't get that right consistently, what? Like, no.
All right. So that's a few things to unpack. I think, yes, starting with a certain amount, starting how you finish. I love that. And I think that it's important to not start with 70 and then all of a sudden feel like you need more. And that comes with having that, understanding your deal breakers, right? So that's good and that's awesome. And then being truthful in your relationships, especially in the beginning. But to your point of it going down from 70 to 30, I wouldn't agree that maybe it's a commitment issue. Especially just being more specific, maybe anything could happen outside that we may not be aware of that has changed that communication. You know, that's made it deteriorate.
So it could be advocate, communicate and tell me that something has changed. At that point in our relationship, you should be able to tell me like, hey, my mom's sick, I'm not worried about you. Or like, I just lost my job, I'm kind of freaking out. Or I don't know, whatever.
Or something.
At that point in a relationship, you should be able to tell that other person that something has changed. And now whether they believe you or not, that's up to them. That's between them and God.
Gotcha. And I think communication. I don't think that that's something that would be the initial. That would probably be a reaction to something else changing. You know, I don't think that communication itself would just deteriorate on its own. There's probably something else going on that caused the communication to deteriorate. So that's a teamwork effort.
Yeah.
You know.
And that's kind of why. So like Doug says, no, you adjust along the way. I'm all for that. Like you should adjust, but to Kevin's point, that doesn't just change for no reason. So it's kind of like you got to have a partnership, and you got to be able to tell me the reason and allow me to decide if I want to adjust or not. You know, like.
Look, Amanda's on. Hey, Amanda, what's up?
Hey. She said, usually lack of effort. They have the prize. They don't feel like they have to work anymore. Exactly. And I mean, like, and whether that's a right or wrong, you know, way to think about things, that is how women think. So as a man, you're not supposed to know that. Men don't know how women think. Women barely know how we think. But that's where, you know, that teamwork and that, again, communication comes into play, because while a guy doesn't think anything of it, you know, that girl's sitting there going through it, running her head through so many different situations of what could be going on. So then she's overthinking and creating issues that aren't even there, when all he needed to do is be like, listen, this is happening. This is why I'm not communicating like I was. But it's also, but the woman also has to identify what she needs in communication and what kind of communication she needs. And she needs to express that to her partner. She can't get mad at him for doing him if she never told him what she needs. And that's where a lot of women get messed up. They just get angry and they fight and they want to be hostile about it. But it's like, did you ever sit and tell him something you needed? He might not even know. Men are stupid. Until you spell it out for them, I'm sorry. Y'all are real stupid sometimes. But it's like, if I never tell you, you know, Kevin, I need you to X, Y, and Z, how can I be mad at you that you did M and O?
Right. So
You know?
Doug made a point that I think can go into a really deep, longer conversation. Doug says, crazy as it sounds, majority of women thrive off turmoil. And I would actually argue that it's not specifically turmoil, but it's emotions. You know, women are just more emotion pivoting people. You know, so it's like we have to stimulate our women emotionally, and if they're not, then it can come out as turmoil, if that makes sense.
Yeah. No, I feel you. We do.
Help me out, communication major.
Most in a relationship, I think most of our decisions are made out of the first three emotions we feel. No matter how rational a woman is, no matter how smart or capable she is, those first three emotions are going to dictate what happens. So, like, example, hypothetical, you text your man, and then keep going about your day. All of a sudden, you text him at like 12:30, talking about, hope you're having a great day. My day's been hella busy, whatever. It gets to 8:30 at night, you haven't heard anything from him. To you, let's say nothing's changed to you. He's still got the same job, same schedule, same hobbies. It's a Wednesday. Usually on Wednesdays, he's home by 7, and y'all are on FaceTime by 9. So the fact that it's 8:30, you haven't heard anything, like, it's weird, right? Okay. So first thing that we're going to think of is something wrong. So first we're going to panic if we care about that person. First we're going to be like, what the fuck? Like, is he okay? Like, did something happen? Should I even be mad? Like, what's going on? Second, then we're going to jump to, well, what the hell is he doing? And be on his phone. And then, no matter how confident the female is, that other insecurity is going to come into play. And it's not about another woman. It's not about any that. It's about another anything that could be being prioritized over you in that relationship. And if y'all don't come to clarify those three emotions, and you don't text me till the next day, and I've had to fester in those three emotions all night, hell yeah, I'm coming at you combative versus let's have a discussion about what you were doing yesterday. So it's a give and take. It's a formula. When you find the right person, you know, and you don't have to think that hard about it because they understand what you need. You understand what they need. And both of you are in a position to honestly have communication with each other and be like, listen, this is the level of communication I need all the time. If you can't fulfill that, I understand that to you it might be a lot to ask for, but that's what I need. You do it or you don't.
Yeah.
You know, some people are better as friends for that reason. I don't need to talk to my friends all day. I don't need to talk to my friends, you know, for 2-3 months. I could check in with you and we'll talk for 3-4 hours and it's like nothing happened. But if I'm in a relationship and building a future with somebody, I'm going to expect
the best friends
in some terms every day.
I think that's a good.
But like,
I think that's a good segue into this next meme.
All right, what you got for me? Yes.
I don't vibe with many, but when I do, it's genuine.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I think
that is so true. Now, if somebody can walk in a room and completely mess your vibe up, like, and you feel it to your core, you just all of a sudden get irritated and don't know why.
Yeah. And that's the type of thing with vibes, you know, it comes with experience though, you know, trusting your gut, leaning into how you feel about people, especially if it's not necessarily if it's negative, you know, like give people a chance. That whole don't judge a book by its cover, I think is, you know what, forget I just said that because that's something like a whole other thing. But, but I feel like, you know, just vibing with people and just understanding what your vibe is and what you're giving off, you know, and you just attract those type of people around you.
Mm-hmm. And that's, I mean, this is going to come off way more negative than I want it to sound.
Let them have it.
But like, I'm sorry, at our core, we are animals. And I'm sorry, but some men and some females, this goes both, are predators. You've got your predators and you've got, you know, your normal animals. But the human race, there are predators. And those type of men and females are very good at picking up on certain energies. So like, I am a big believer and cannot say it enough that women, you really need to assess the energy that you give off because you're going to attract that. Or the wrong attention.
Yeah.
So while we're
guys and girls,
and all you got to do is sit with yourself and figure out what you've been giving out. Because chances are, if you had a line of bad relationships or whatever, it's not them anymore.
Right. Yeah. And that's for everyone, not just women. It's like if you're the type of person that says all women do this or all women do this or all men do this, you're part of the problem and you're not growing. You know. Because that's just not the case. It's a case-by-case thing. People are individuals. Yes, we have, you know, certain things that we're all alike in. But if you feel like, oh, all women are gold diggers, that's like a popular statement, right, to say. You're attracting those people, bro. You're attracting those women to you if you feel like every woman you meet is a gold digger.
What you put out first is your money. And, oh, I could take you to this restaurant. Oh, I could take you on this trip. Oh, you having a hard time eating this bill? Let me pay for it.
Right.
What do you think? I mean,
if you starting like that, you gotta expect to finish that way. You gotta remember to start how you finish.
Thank you. So that's what I thought. You definitely gotta get your vibe right, and I think vibes and vibrations. And I don't think those happen often. I think a lot of people have friendships and relationships that they may hold dear, but vibe to vibe, that's a rare vibe.
Yeah. I'm not gonna do this last meme.
What was your last meme?
I'm not gonna show it. I'm gonna keep it for another day. We've been good so far.
Yeah. All right, let me see what I got in this little bank here. All right, so let's take a vote because we're wrapping up on time. We got 2 memes. I'm gonna read them and then we'll get it. people to vote on them. So option 1 is what I require, I can also provide. So that kind of goes on topic of what we've been talking about making lists of what you want in a partner, not making a list, what you require somebody else. Can you honestly say you bring to the table? So that's option 1.
Vibe. Yeah.
Or option 2, are people actually afraid to double text? I will send 16 messages in a row and feel no shame whatsoever. So anybody that is still watching, go ahead and put either option 1 or option 2, and we're going to see how many we get. And that'll be the last one we do for tonight.
I wonder if there's a way to do that, to have like throw up like a real-time vote. That'd be cool. Scorpio says both.
Good. If y'all stay and listen, we can do both. But I know Kevin's got the babies. Their attention span is only going to last so long before you need to go back.
Facts.
All right, we're 50-50 right now. All right. 2 for 1, 1 for 2.
Getting a lot of ones.
3 for 1. All right, so let's start with 1. And if we got time, we'll round it out with 2.
Sounds like a plan.
So 1 was what you require, can you provide? In layman's terms. That we can actually circle back, with that list. So everything on my personal list of what I look for in a man, it doesn't have to do with physical appearance, but more things that emotionally I want or things that they're capable of doing.
Okay.
Absolutely. But there's another saying where it's like, women are always like, what do you bring to the table? But they don't realize that their table is a broke down picnic table that hobos eat at in New York.
Oh gosh.
And that's so true. There'll be women that don't have a car, that, are still living with their parents, or they don't have a job and they expect you to provide for their lifestyle, and they're asking for you to be making 6 figures and you to have an expensive car and you to have all this stuff, and they can't even provide that for themselves. And I think that's really important. As women, you need to be independently happy financially with your career, your life, before you ever try to partner or add a man to it. No woman should be looking to a man for anything, because fuck men's rights, women's rights, empowerment, all of that.
Yeah. You
therefore give another human being power over your success, and they can dictate how successful you are. And who wants that? Let's say I didn't have anything going for me and I started dating a guy, and all of my success came because of him. The minute I try to do something that he doesn't want, or that would make me more successful than him, well, he can start taking money away. He can start taking lifestyle away. He can start taking resources away.
What you're describing sounds like half of Tyler Perry's movies.
Because it happens so much.
Yeah.
And I feel like
that comes with trust, though, too.
People make that a sexist thing, like women power or independence, or men, but no, have power in yourself, whether you're a man or a woman. It goes for men.
Yeah. I think as a society, we're still struggling to find that balance, especially for people who look to society to dictate that balance, and I think that type of thing, that sort of thing, that works for you and your personality type, and for other people that it might not work specifically in that way. I'm always playing devil's advocate. But the point is really about who you find and figuring out your balance. That I feel like that's worked best for me and mine, It's not worrying about what everyone else is doing, not necessarily what other people think. I already don't care what anyone thinks, right? But it's not about not worrying about what they think. It's about not really worrying about what they're doing and figuring out what works for you and yours. But having the standards, it starts with that. Loving yourself, like you said, and figuring out, because that's where you can really figure out what you want from someone else, if there's a void, you gotta fill that void as much as possible for yourself. first and not look to someone else to fill it.
And that's why, like, what is it? She's like, be 100% with myself before I think to invite someone else in. Absolutely. We say that relationships are a partnership, and they are, but it's two whole people coming together to be partners. It's not, I'm at 50, you're at 50, let's complete each other. That's not a recipe for a successful one. Because like I said, then whatever 50% that person brings to you, or you bring to them, or you create together, becomes subject to that togetherness. And as much as I believe in marriage and all of that good stuff, it's kind of like things happen. Shit happens every day, and you got to be able to lose that person and still be at 100 and be able to do for you or provide for your kids or, you know, whatever.
Right. And that's not a bad thing. It should give you confidence knowing that you have a plan, you know, regardless of your situation.
For sure.
Good one.
That is a really good one. Because I feel like a lot of people don't do it. And I feel more women than men. I do feel like it's a woman issue where we look to men to do all these things for us, when in reality, we can't maintain a home. We can't cook. We can't, you know, balance a checkbook. We can't pay our own bills. We can't this, that, and the third. But
I've heard that.
All of that from a man.
I've heard that be a viable strategy from young girls. You know, it's like, oh, I'll just marry rich, or I'll just follow this athlete. Like, I've heard that come out of people's mouths.
And a lot of people say it as a joke, but they don't understand that shit resonates. Like, when you're just joking around, or like, you know, people are going between degrees, or like you go home and your parents are like, what are you going to do with your life? And you're like, I'm going to just marry rich. Like, I'm not even worried about it. What?
Right. Right.
People really take that seriously, and we need to stop saying it to our young men and women, because, I mean, we all know stuff that we were told when we were kids. We live by that, and it's not until we get, honestly, too late or too old before we're like, damn, that was shit. All right, we got 1:55, so we will just kind of wrap up and close, and we'll save that over texting meme for the next Meme Monday that we do. But absolutely, I think that's one of the pull away quotes from this show, is you got to be able to lose that person and still be on it. So go find you a good vibe, a good man, 100% yourself.
Yeah.
A nice partnership. And women, don't apologize for having standards. That's a better way to say it. Not your list, standards.
Standards, yeah. And have priorities. Guys, don't forget, people first. Reasonably, within reasonable time.
People then games.
Right. But women also, if he's online, he's got his headset on, just give it 10 minutes. Give it 15 minutes.
I don't got 10. My confidence only lasts about 30 seconds. You got to get in there, Kevin.
I got you.
Oh my God.
All right.
Well, I will talk to you later, Kevin. Thank you, everybody, for watching, commenting. Hopefully this only gets better.
Oh, yeah. Only up from here.
All right. Bye.